Welcome back to part 4, talking about muscle lengths. Quadzilla, let's talk about it. The quadriceps are a group of 4 muscles on the front side or anterior portion of the thigh. It's called quadriceps, or quads for short, because there's 4. We have big boy rectus femoris, vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and the vastus intermedius, which is underneath rectus femoris. You can't see unless it's cut away. All 3 of the vasti muscles only cross the knee joint, so all they do is knee extension. Rectus femoris is a little different. It of course crosses the knee joint too and is a knee extensor, but it also crosses the hip joint and it's a hip flexor. Also, just to get this out of the way because people are going to bring it up, the VMO is just the distal portion of the vastus medialis. It's not some sort of separate muscle. And we already have a few videos talking about how you cannot isolate the VMO, which is probably going to piss a lot of people off because they really like that knees over toes thing. Since the 3 vasti muscles only cross the knee joint, their short and long positions are very simple. Any kind of deep knee flexion or knee bend, if you will, is going to be their lengthened position. That could be like here in a squat, or in a deep split squat like here, which is basically the same position but a single leg variation, or in the bottom of a leg extension, although you probably can't get quite as deep of a stretch due to the structure of these machines. The pad can get in the way of the back of your knee. The shortened position for any of the vasti muscles is just with knees fully extended, basically the top of any of those movements that we just talked about. Now, the rectus femoris is a little different because it crosses the knee and the hip, like we mentioned. This is the fully lengthened position for the rectus femoris. Hip is extended, knee is as flexed as it can get. This movement is a reverse Nordic curl or a Nordic quad, if you're curious. Bit of a weird movement that's kind of strange to load and progress. But since they don't make leg extension machines where you can lay flat on your back, this is pretty much the only real option for getting into this kind of position. You do get a similar position on the back leg in a rear foot elevated split squat, but the back leg isn't the one doing the work here. The fully shortened position for the rectus femoris is knees extended just like all the vasti muscles, but unlike the vasti muscles, the hip has to be flexed. It used to be really popular to hate on leg extensions, maybe not so much anymore, but it's your best bet for training the rectus femoris in its fully shortened length. Something that'll really mess with your head is that a hanging straight leg raise like this is actually the same position as a seated leg extension. Just pointing out that this is a fully shortened rectus femoris and technically the same position, but it's not going to actually build your quads. So to train the vasti muscles, we want any kind of deep knee bending with full extension at the top, which will also train the rectus femoris in some capacity. But to train the rectus femoris in its fully shortened position, we do need something like a seated leg extension. And as a side note, if you want to learn about VMO isolation and how that's not real and turning your toes in or out on a leg extension doesn't actually do anything, go watch our videos on that topic. Comment what muscle group you want to learn about next, and follow to learn more about the science of training.